Hey guys, Motorcar Nut here, and today we're replacing a turbo cartridge. Not the whole turbo, just the cartridge. A lot of people don't realize it's a lot cheaper to just replace the cartridge instead of getting a turbo that can cost over $1,000. Now this happens to be a Volkswagen, the TSI 2.0 Turbo. All right, this is the unit itself. Exhaust manifold is here. Here's the cartridge in here. Here's the intake side. And when you buy a new turbo, they usually replace the whole thing. There's not, unless it's cracked, there's nothing wrong with the cast iron manifold or the aluminum intake. It's usually nothing ever goes wrong. It's always this part, the turbine. You see that? Where it has water and oil cooled. It leaks. On this particular model, it was leaking out of the turbo itself and burning oil. But it still had boost and everything. And if you have boost codes and everything, and your mechanic or you suspect it's the turbo, you can just replace the cartridge. Now, you can get aftermarket cartridge. This is an aftermarket cartridge. All right, it's probably made in China, but it has tight tolerances. It comes with a certificate of how it was performing, and it looks exactly like that one. I've used them a lot before with no problems. It can easily go 150,000 miles, even more, because it's water cooled and oil cooled. So, you know, unlike older cars where they're just oil cooled. So anyway, first thing you're going to do, you watch my video. I have a video on how to take the turbo out, and then we get to this point. Okay, so now there's going to be a bracket here with a bolt. All right, I usually take it out because this bracket bolt is very hard to get in the car, and a lot of times it just doesn't want to come off because of the heat. It's mounted right over here. It's very hot. Anyway, if you can get yours off in the car, that's fine, so skip this part. Okay, these are already going to be off. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to mark, because when you take it off, the intake manifold and the exhaust manifold and the intake part can twist. So you want to pretty much get them aligned pretty much where they go. So what you do is you never mark here because this is going to be replaced. This part's going to be replaced. So basically you want to put it on the exhaust part. All right, you make a mark. What I did, let me go get it. Okay, when you replace the cartridge, the only marks that are going to be left is this one, and the one on the intake. All right, so when you put the new one on, you just get a straight edge like this, and pretty much it doesn't have to be exact. I mean, there may be a pin in here. I forget which one's this. I know the BMWs have a pin, but you know, you pretty much get it exact and make your marks. So when you put it together, it's going to be pretty much in the same spot. So now you have to take it off. You have over here, I think there's 6 of them. Count them around, 10 millimeter. They all come off. Okay, and then you're going to pop this side off. Now, before you do that, there's going to be, let me turn it around. Okay, over here is going to be the wastegate. All right, and there's going to be 2 bolts, Torx 30. You use this type. If you have everything out already, you're pretty much familiar with all these tools. All right, and just, you can leave it like this. On this one, it's kind of, where is it? It's on the other side. It's kind of like pressed on, so you really can't take it off, so it doesn't matter as long as you just leave it like this, nice and loose. Okay, then you separate this part. Basically, you could just tap it a little bit and it'll come off. Okay? I guess when you put it back, it looks like there was a little gasket maker over here, very thin layer all the way around. Some of them have an O-ring. This one, I don't believe this car was taken apart, so you put a little gasket maker on it. You see how it's leaking the oil? And you put this to the side. All right. And now, over here, we also got a 10 millimeter deep socket. Take this off. All right. And then we're going to just slightly tap it. Well, don't use these threads. Just tap it somewhere to separate it from the exhaust manifold. And that's the cartridge. All right. Just take it off. Be careful not to remove the marks. And just tap it. Oh, here we go. Comes off like that. Get that out of the way. And now I can't do it with one hand. But like I said, just tap it loose and see if, I don't think there's any pin. Let me see on this one. Well, this is aftermarket. Yeah, it does have a pin. You see that pin? Okay. So that pin is good because that's going to line up. That's going to line up the cartridge to the exhaust manifold, and all you got to worry about, because you made the mark on here, is to line up this when you put it back, so it's even easier. So tapping it, you're going to ruin this, who cares, but just don't, ruin this seam over here. I'm using an air chisel, okay, because it's starting to come out now. I'm just hitting it here, here, and here. You can use, not really this, something with metal on the top, not like this, put it along there, or better not touch, well, you could touch this, but don't. All right, hit it here, hit it here, hit it here, all the way around. It'll come right off. I got the chisel, so I'm using the chisel, but you can use this as well. All right, and just like that, it popped out. Actually, after that little short session, it popped right out after that. And you can look, a lot of oil in here. But anyway, and so now we just take it out, clean it up. And you see that little pin I'm talking about? And what you do with this, you clean it up, maybe with a little razor blade, scrape it, and then a little scouring pad, make it nice and clean it out in there. And see how this one was leaking oil, burning oil? It was seeping through the exhaust. Not this. This is, even though this was trapped inside, that was what's giving it the burning oil. All right, even this, look at this oil in there. And shouldn't be oil in there. All right, so I'm going to clean it all up. And it's always a good idea, to match it up. Even though it said it fixed, you match it up, height, the fins, the way they look. Just make sure everything looks the same before you install it. Even though the part numbers can be the same, even if it was a factory part, you never know. All right, you use some of the little pad, scouring pad here, clean it all up. All right, get all the grease out of there, and we're just going to install the new cartridge. Okay, so nice and clean in there. And what you do is you get your new cartridge. You see the hole, and you see the little pin right there. Carefully put it in there. And make sure it's flush. And nothing is make sure it's flush. That's why, let me put it down a little bit. That's why you don't mar the surface. Let's say if you hit it with a hammer or something, when you're trying to get it off, it can make a bump and this won't fit flush and it can cock the propeller. Okay, so that's important. Then we just put on the clamp. I'll show you how it lines up with the marks that you should have made. And it should look like this when you're done. Make sure your marks, 1, 2, and then when we put the intake side on there, we line it up with a little ruler or something. Make sure you tighten this down, the clamp. All right, and most importantly, make sure your propeller is not binding. Okay, like that. And now I'm going to clean up the intake side, and we're going to put a light film of gasket maker on there, very thin, just enough to make a nice little seal. And then we're just going to line up that mark with the mark I made over here. See that mark? Around that area like that. And then we're just going to put the bolts back on, and we're almost done. All right, a little thin coating on the edge over there. I used some Ultra Black Permatex. I like that brand. And now we're going to install it. And these are 8mm all around. I think there's 6 of them. And most importantly, like I said before, you see the little marks I made before on the housing right there. Pretty much, they all line up. You see that? And then you tighten them down so you know that the intake part is in alignment of how it used to be. All right, you don't want to cock to one side or the other. All right, you tighten those all up. And then there's this hose. I didn't show you how to take that off before, but this goes on one way. I'm going to show you what I did with that. And then it's going to be done. Okay, and that line goes here. It has this bolt holds the bracket. That's a 8mm triple square. All right, then it feeds out and goes this way. Okay, and you get it from under here. I use the 50 Torx, even though that's an Allen. I didn't have a 50. I used this, it was fine. And you tighten it right there. All right, and make sure you tighten, these are T30s. You tighten up the wastegate. And basically that's it. And just reinstall it. And of course, you always have to make sure that the turbine in there is not binding up for some reason, because then something's wrong. Okay, nice, perfect. Now you got a brand new turbo again. Of course, like I said in the beginning, if this is not cracked, the exhaust manifold, it's just a piece of plumbing. What goes bad is that little cartridge, and that can save you a lot of money. That cartridge costs $80 to $90. All right, so you can get a little bit better one, $200 one. But this whole mechanism, this whole turbo assembly over here can easily cost from like $600 to $1,200. So you decide. All right, guys. Motor Car Nut, please subscribe, hit that like button. Any questions, leave them below pertaining to the video. I answer all my questions, try to get everybody back on the road as best I can from a distance. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.